Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever time it is, wherever you are, whoever you are, and welcome once again to Full Fat Spoiler Chat, the show in which us, the people at Nerd Caliber, uh, bring to you a piece of recent nerd entertainment in which I'm going to go in depth into what worked in this case, this movie, what didn't work, what was good, what was bad, themes, tone, message, and so on. And to go in depth, that means we have to spoil it. So we will, in fact, be spoiling tonight the movie Reminiscence. So, what is Reminiscence? It's a movie made by Warner Brothers that premiered last week in theaters and on HBO Max. Same day release. Starring Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Ferguson, Tandiwe Newton. I didn't mess up her name. Apparently, her actual name, her Zimbabwean name, is Tandiwe. And when her very first credit, they dropped the W near the end of her name, and she became Tandy, and she never complained about it. So now she's actually being credited with her real name for the first time in decades. But yeah. And a wonderful roster of supporting casts: the fantastic Cliff Curtis, Daniel Wu, a great cast. It is written and directed by Lisa Joy, who was a writer on Pushing Daisies way back when, writer and co-producer of Burn Notice, one of the fantastic spy shows that was ever on TV, and writer and executive producer on Westworld. And apparently, this script was sitting as a hot property in the blacklist, the unsolicited script list for Hollywood, for a little while. So, the story is Hugh Jackman plays Nick Bennett. He is a investigator, I guess is the right term, set in a near future Miami in which climate change has caused a global sea rise enough to the point that an awful lot of Miami is flooded. There are really big seawalls trying to keep it away from the rest of the city. The really rich have actually built up essentially seawall-based islands of communities where they are on dry ground. And the Jackman's character Bennett plays an ex-military who, in his time in the military, was an investigator using this technology that allows people to record memories and, in some cases, when necessary, project them onto a screen or into a holographic system. And he has now created a private business as an investigator with one of his wartime buddies, Watts, played by Tandiwe Newton. Into his life walks Rebecca Ferguson's character, named May, never given a last name, who wants something as simple as his help in trying to find where she forgot that she had placed her keys. So that says an interesting thing about this world, that this technology is so pervasive it's pretty affordable to anybody for some pretty small scale stuff. Jackman's character Bennett works with the local police department, the local DA, to take what are essentially memory depositions, like video depositions, in criminal cases, to do some investigative work when memories need to be recovered for somebody who is not cooperative or is close to death. But also has a lot of private clients, for everybody from people who just want to relive really personal, affecting memories, to people like May, who just want to literally find lost keys. This starts what is a mystery, and this is a science fiction, near future science fiction mystery thriller romance story with a very noir feel to it. When going through Rebecca Ferguson's memories, here is Jackman as Bennett in his workplace, which is an abandoned bank somewhere in Miami. So again, really super noir feel. And you can see that she is remembering one of her performances. She is a singer, a lounge singer. And the dress, the microphone is right out of the 1920s. So that, it is a really, and Jackman is in a black suit with a white shirt and a black tie, and it's really super noir. They really lean heavily into that, the noir aesthetic of this. And as the mystery unfolds, you find out that May is, of course, not exactly what she seems. An awful lot of what's going on is not exactly what it seems. And that's basically the gist of what this movie is. There are some really good things to like about this movie. By the way, if it sounds like I'm Harry Brady, welcome to the show. Welcome back. Once again, we are spoiling the heck out of Reminiscence. Just released last week in theaters and on HBO Max. So if you haven't seen it and you don't like spoilers, you probably shouldn't be watching, but I'm glad you stopped in. If you have or you don't care about the spoilers, then hang around. Because I got a few things to say about this. So what I liked, and what I was starting to say is, if this seems like I'm rushing along, one, I'm solo. Two, it's raining up here in New England, or at least on the coast of Massachusetts. It has been all day, and my sinuses are not enjoying it. Yeah, I'm probably going to zip right through this in about a half an hour. But anyway, so what I liked about it. So first off, the world concept and the story concept is really interesting. There's a couple of kind of big, stupid logic holes with the way they deal with the technology or the way the technology is portrayed. But I got past those pretty quickly. A flooded Miami in which, Hugh Jackman and Tandy Newton played ex-military who were called to literally a border war. Pardon me. Says an awful lot about the future that they're in. And the border, he said he served in the Gulf, and he meant the Gulf of Mexico. Is a really, it's a very interesting world that they're in. And it flavors an awful lot of what's going on. There's a lot of poverty, a probably even wider separation, wealth gap than there is right now, by a lot. And, maybe that explains the retro noir feel of this, that people are really sort of, throwing themselves back. But it also, we'll get into, thematically, but it also sort of thematically works with the idea of memories in the past and so on. So the cast, you get two of the most beautiful people in the world leading this thing, Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Ferguson. I mean, come on. You get Jackman solo shot I've got here. You get that one. By the way, what is with Hugh Jackman getting into tanks and putting on electrodes? I mean, come on, Wolverine. That's, seriously? Ferguson, damn. I mean, just damn. Rebecca Ferguson has always been a just damn for me. She plays a singer, and apparently, unlike the last, or one of the last movies they were in together, The Greatest Showman, she actually sings in this movie. It's really her voice, and she has a killer voice, particularly as a chanteuse, singing like old school, early 20th century classics. And so that's wonderful as well. At first, I was put off by it, and I'll get into that later on. It seems like they were really pushing the noir stuff way too hard. But she's just so good. That I kind of just gave up and went, okay, I'm just going to let this voice wash over me. Tandy Newton is fantastic no matter what she does. That's just a given. In here, she is, really, really badass. Jackman's character was more of an investigator, although he certainly did serve on the line during this border war and so on. She's a sniper and a gunner. That's she uses bullets, as she says. The fantastic Cliff Curtis plays a crooked cop. Cliff Curtis as a crooked cop. That's absolutely wonderful alliteration. Um, and I actually took the picture of him down. Daniel Wu from Borderlands is wonderful as a upper tier drug lord, not a kingpin, but a powerful drug lord from New Orleans. I took the picture down that I had up in the rotation because it completely blew it. I grabbed a picture from Borderlands, which is what most people know him from. The coat he was wearing was really similar. Let's just put it that way. So, but yeah, no, I screwed up. Um, and a lot of really good supporting cast members around this as well. One of the important clients of Jackman's character, Elsa Carine, is played by Angela Serafian, who was with Tandy Ray Newton and Lisa Joy, who was writing all and executive producing all this stuff in Westworld. She played Clementine, the brothel worker who is, her story is she's the one that always gets killed. Yeah, android, of course. Brett Cullen as a rich, dying asshole kind of guy, which he really excels at playing. Which you may remember Thomas Wayne from Joker. So he's got rich assholes down perfectly. And just a lot of other really good supporting cast members. The choice of music to mostly use early 20th century lounge music, basically, very chanteuse style, easy jazz, is wonderful. And the soundtrack itself, the incidental music, plays with that. And I'm not sure that I'm going to remember this for the things I didn't particularly care for, which is why the really kind of EDM music in the closing credits is jarring as hell. It's like, where'd that come from? So that's a real small nitpick, but that would go in the things I don't like. But the cast, outstanding. The cinematography is gorgeous. This guy knows how to light stuff. The way they display, or the way they use the 3D. Let's find this one here. Depiction of somebody's memories is brilliant. There's an article on, I can't remember what it is. It's an industry, it's a motion picture industry website. I'm sorry, I can't remember the website. So this is early on in the film where she's trying to remember her keys, or what she did with her keys, and she's reliving her night, which involved going to work and singing. And so that's Jackman in the current time. And in that sort of inverted cone-shaped curtain-y sort of thing is her memory being projected as a sort of a hologram. They kind of actually did this. This is mostly analog. This is actually Jackman looking at a projection. So what they did is there's a material that the cinematographer is familiar with that is, in fact, these stretched thin wires of this gossamer material that is a half circle, not a full 360-degree cone sort of thing as it's shown here. But it is this sort of tightly stretched, arced material that he filmed the memory stuff in, before filming the actual, I guess supposedly current time stuff, and made sure he lined up the sight lines of where the person would be in this projection with Jackman or whoever else happens to be looking at this projection. It's almost always just Jackman. And then actually projected it on the current technology version of this, which is a hemisphere. It's about 180 degrees, not 360, but using 3 different laser projectors, he could create this essentially holographic image on this, gossamer curtain thing. And so Jackman was actually looking at this. Now he says they went in and they like cleaned up a few things with digital imaging after the fact, but this is almost entirely analog. It's filming what he saw, and that's pretty amazing. I think that's wonderful technology, really inside baseball stuff. And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't read this article while I was researching stuff for this show. So it really shouldn't count as something I liked about the movie, but after the fact, yeah, I really like that they figured out a way to make this work. Let's see, other things that I really like about it. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's a really fascinating world, a very intricate plot. It is a mystery. It's just shy of 2 hours, and so they've got plenty of time to make that plot twist. And there are twists. Solid performances all around by an outstanding cast, and it looks gorgeous and so on. Now, what didn't I like about it? Well, the fact that it's noir. This would be a very interesting mystery, science fiction, thriller, mystery, romance story without trying to cram it into a noir feel. Blade Runner did that beautifully. Blade Runner 2049 kind of set the noir aesthetic aside for the most part, to go with a more atmospherically almost alien aesthetic. So noir is kind of difficult to pull off when you've got so many other things on your plate that defines what your movie is. Setting it in Miami is not the right call. There aren't dark alleys, dank dark alleys in Miami, even a flooded Miami, for a noir movie. It's pretty difficult to have a really long extended stretch of, crappy, London fog weather in Miami to get that noir feel, or certainly New York City or any place else where you associate noir. Now, granted, they have done it very well in Los Angeles. I'll give that. There's some excellent Los Angeles noir movies. But, they didn't pull it off here. This shot that shows you, and this is a long, that apparently disappeared. So I'm going to just chatter away while I try to import the image of flooded Miami. There we go. So this image, it's close to sunset, it's golden hour, and so on. That's not noir. That's beautiful photography. But boy, is that not noir. So one, that was a pretty bad choice. I mean, I get why they're doing it. It's, it's a city that's easy to show flooded, etc. And it's different. But yeah, it was not the right call, I don't think. And the lighting isn't noir. It's beautiful, but it's not necessarily noir lighting. The settings, they aren't particularly noir. I think this was supposed to be noir. It's as a relationship between May and Bennett start to develop in her apartment. That is absolutely gorgeously lit. It's fantastic. It's pretty bright. So, again, they just really missed the mark with trying to make this noir. And like I said earlier, one of the things when Rebecca Ferguson starts singing this, classic 20th century lounge song, it's like, really? With that mic and that dress? Just shove the noir in my face, why don't you? So, yeah, that was a mistake. Just straight up. having one of the traditional noir trappings of narration was a mistake. It comes across as just so overblown, overwrought. I mean, Hugh Jackman's voice, I'd listen to him recite anything, but some of that dialogue, it would make Dashiell Hammett ashamed. Dashiell Hammett actually wouldn't have written any of that stuff. So, yeah, noir was a bad call. Again, you can do science fiction, mystery, romance, thriller movies without that. If you want to do a flooded future science fiction mystery, this is more of an action film. This is not a better film. I'll absolutely say that, but it does a better job of doing that. Split Second, early 1990s movie with Rutger Hauer, set in a flooded futuristic London. With also an amazing cast, the outstanding Ian Dury. It's worth watching just for Ian Dury as a nightclub owner. Whether you're a fan of Ian Dury and the Blockheads' music or not, that's a great performance. So yeah, you want to check out how to do noir in a flooded city? Watch Split Second. It's kind of dumb, but it's Rutger Hauer, it's action, it's mystery. It's fun. The other things I didn't particularly like about this is, so the story is interesting. It throws a couple of surprises at you, which are good. They're played well. They're done well. The plot is intricate. There are a lot of twists and turns. The science fiction, the technology is interesting, if at times problematic. The world it's set in is fantastic. The elements are here for this to be an outstanding movie. And so the thing that makes it not outstanding, and I'll get to whether or not it's recommended or at the end, but the thing that makes it not outstanding has to be Lisa Joy, and this is her first feature film direction. The only other thing she has directed is one episode of Westworld. So she is clearly an amazing writer. No question about that. Obviously an incredibly talented producer. There's editing choices in here that are, problematic. There's pacing issues like you wouldn't believe. There are line reads that are allowed to happen that I don't think a lot of other people that Hugh Jackman have worked with in really high quality science fiction would have let happen. Darren Aronofsky in The Fountain, for example. And there you go. So Cliff Curtis is in this, as he is also with Hugh Jackman in The Fountain. You want to watch a fantastic science fiction show movie with both Hugh Jackman and Cliff Curtis in it, go watch The Fountain. You won't understand it. I don't understand it. It's a 2+ hour mind trip, but it's really well done. This isn't. Now, Cliff Curtis has also been in one of my absolutely all-time favorite science fiction movies, Sunshine, directed by the brilliant Danny Boyle. Also with a fantastic cast. Cillian Murphy and Michelle Yeoh and Chris Evans as a real jerk. And again, Cliff Curtis, as I mentioned. It's a fantastic cast. It's a wonderful movie. And again, Danny Boyle is an amazing director. Lisa Joy in her first outing isn't. And that's the problem with this movie. It's got all of the elements that would make this an absolute laydown for me to be one of my favorites. It's near future, plausible science fiction, mystery, romance, thriller, action combo that is a badly made noir and a clumsily made film. Um, that's really the main things I don't like about it. The pacing issues, are problematic. The first quarter of the movie, when they really start hammering the noir stuff, and the narration is really overwrought, and it starts to get. I started to wonder whether or not this was something I really wanted to do for tonight's show, but it was too late at that point. I watched this morning, for us to make any changes. And then about a quarter of the way through the movie, suddenly Hugh Jackman's character comes out of the tank. He's been remembering all of this stuff. We realize that it's 5 months plus since what he was remembering. May has left. He thinks something bad happened to her. It's absolutely clear she left. Like she closed accounts, she rented her apartment, etc. She's gone. Which is another logic hole that bothers me about this. If she rented her apartment, he's an investigator. Just find out where the money's going. If you can't, let's say it's a future where it's all all currency is crypto. Then you just say that. You have a toss-off line. It's like, oh, there's no way to find out where that money's going. It's all blockchain and encrypted. It's cryptocurrency. And done. That's you don't need to worry about that plot hole at all. But anyway, so it's really clear she left, just up and left him. And he's obsessed, absolutely obsessed with her. It's affecting his job. They're losing clients. It's suddenly this takes a much more interesting turn from this slow buildup of okay, what's the story? He's falling in love with this girl. I get it. What why is to oh okay, something bad happened. He's having a bad reaction to it. We're in the meat of it now, folks. And that was a nice, like I said, there are a bunch of twists like that. That was a nice twist. In the hands of a more accomplished director, those twists could have been fantastic. As it is, they are the highlights of an otherwise troubled production. So, what are the themes and tones and messages of this? There's an awful lot of thematic imagery that is really not subtle. One of the first scenes you see is, he's walking through the streets of where his offices are always under about 3 or 4 inches of water. Whereas outside of these big seawalls that are protecting that part of, Miami, buildings are flooded stories high. So he sees a card, picks it up, and he gives it to, apparently there's a 3-card Monte hustler. Why there would be a hustler when there's nobody on the streets. But anyway, there's a 3-card Monte hustler there. And then he sees it again, or he remembers it, near the end of the movie. And it's a Queen of Hearts. I'm like, okay, I get it. Queen of Hearts, subtle. Yeah, good. All right. Rebecca Ferguson is the queen of his hearts. It's a complicated game that's being played, yada, yada, yada. So, but then there's other things in here, like the idea of the whole retro aspect or noir aspect of the world, and the fact that this technology is so widespread that, at one point, Thandie Newton's character Watts, she and Bennett have a falling out. She winds up going to work for one of the apparently many, many what they call pod businesses, which are like tanning salons. They're that common. They're all over the place, and they're pods where somebody can get in and literally relive whatever memory they want. It's not projected because these people are not investigators. They're just pod businesses where people can relive memories for price. And they're everywhere. So that ties into thematically the whole noir aspect of this and the retro look of May as a singer and the technology she's using and so on. And I get that, but yeah, once again, it's done much more effectively in Blade Runner. Where you've got the mix of old school neon street lights with modern bioengineering technology, literally being done in what the equivalent of food stalls right on the streets, and it's you know show me more of how this memory stuff affects people literally living on the streets. Are there portable decks? Can you do this just like in what the heck was the name of that movie? Oh, I can't think of it. With Rafe Fiennes, Angela Bassett, fantastic movie set before 1999, and it's about the turn of the century, which is now 21 years old, and how there was a similar, memory and experience recording technology. Again, all of the implications of what that would do to society was handled better in that movie than in this. Literally, the only implication to society is there's an awful lot of these cheap businesses where you can go, live stuff or remember stuff, relive stuff, scattered all around, and they kind of look like franchises, I guess. They're apparently all very similar. And some people use this technology for investigation, like he does. And that seems to be it. So the theme obviously is in the value of memories, but also the danger of relying too much on memories, too much living in the past, essentially. And is our future going to be one so bad that people are necessarily just going to retreat into the past? Again, it's there, it's hinted at. It could be explored way more deeply in this. It's not, because it doesn't impinge on the mystery or the romance. So, and that's really it for themes and tone. Again, tonally, it tries to be a noir and it mostly fails. It's lip service to noir. They're doing all the noir things, they're just not doing them right. So would I recommend this? If you got nothing else to do, it's a watch. I wouldn't say it's a fun watch. It's a slog. It's a long movie. It seems like a long movie. It's really only 2 hours, 1 hour and 59 minutes. But boy, does you feel every single minute of it. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a generous 6. It should be an 8, given the pedigree of everybody involved, including Lisa Joy, the writer and director. But as her first feature film directorial effort, it pulls this down to a 6, I'm afraid. I hope she gets better. She's obviously an incredibly talented writer. I love the subject matter that she deals with. Burn Notice, Westworld, 2 of my favorite shows. But, she should have put this in the hands of somebody who could direct. So, keep trying, Lisa Joy. Make a better movie. I look forward to seeing you making a better movie. So, that's it, folks. Like I said, I'd wrap up in about a half an hour. It's been about a half an hour. Thank you, Harry, who is the only one who popped into the chat, as far as I can tell. And stay tuned on Monday. Our show, No Nerd Caliber, on Monday is going to be our favorite ninjas in any sort of entertainment. And the reason we're doing that is because next Thursday's full fat spoiler chat will be G.I. Joe Origins Snake Eyes, which I'm looking forward to because I really wanted to see this movie. And of course, in between there on Tuesday is Nerd Week Live. We've already posted a whole bunch of other stuff. there's no point in waiting. If you haven't seen the new trailer that just dropped earlier for The Matrix 4, for The Matrix Resurrections, go watch it. Goosebumps, skin crawlingly exciting. If you're at all a Matrix fan or a Keanu Reeves fan. So yeah, that'll be on our docket along with a bunch of other stuff that dropped. So we'll see you at one of those shows. In the meantime, folks, please stay safe. Yay, this is just water, but yay to us in the United States here. Overall, as an average, the country has finally reached 75% of citizens who can get it have at least one dose of the vaccine. So, yeah, and that's real vaccine. That's not, swallowing ivermectin paste. So keep going. Now, the Delta variant is currently responsible for 99% of all of the reported cases in the United States. And the Mu variant, which is the latest variant, which is probably making the injections, the vaccinations, even slightly less effective. As I mentioned on the show before, my Moderna went from 97 to 95. I'm fine with that, from the normal to the Delta. And if the Mu drops it to even 85, well, that's way better than not getting a chance to avoid the disease. So, but yes, the Mu variant is now in 49 of all 50 states in the United States. So wear that mask. I was at Fan Expo Boston. Everybody wore masks. We allowed people to take their masks off once they were on my backdrop, which was actually about 10 feet away from me, and then put them right back on once I got off the backdrop. And that worked out really well, or at least so far, I think it has. Otherwise, there was absolutely wonderful compliance with Boston's indoor mask mandate at that con. Please, everybody, keep up that kind of good work. And we will see you at an upcoming show. I was going to toast to the United States vaccination rates. I forgot about it. We'll see you at an upcoming show. Everybody stay safe.